I'm queer, I'm Catholic, I'm Latinx, I'm a woman, I'm an activist, and all of those things are wrapped up in this record. And that's what I love. I love it for me, but I love that like other people are connecting with it in the same way that I am.
Well, I'm here with Gina Chavez, nominated for Best Pop Rock Album, Que Manda. Gina, welcome to LATV.
It's so exciting to be here. Thanks for squeezing me in.
Of course. How did it feel to get the nomination?
Oh man, I'm still riding on high. I'm so excited. I think, I'm a truly independent artist. I've been doing this for a long time. And I think the biggest thing for me is like, this record means so much to me, but to have it be recognized on an international level, especially by the Latin music community, is huge, because I'm not a native Spanish speaker, and I've always wanted to kind of like connect to my Latin roots. And so to have my first all Spanish language album get this kind of recognition is pretty awesome.
Which I think is a story that I'm also born here in the States, but sometimes, we're not as in touch with our culture until much later in life. And that's very much your story, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually for me, I've always siempre me ha llamado la atención. Like I've always wanted to have that connection. But it probably, I think it really started for me when I went to Argentina, actually, when I was a student at the University of Texas, studied journalism and wanted to go study abroad. I don't really know why I chose Buenos Aires, but I did. And it changed my life. Like it changed my life going to Argentina, and hearing the music of South America. And so I almost get to be more like Latin Americans as opposed to like specifically Mexican. I feel very like porteña de corazón, and then my wife and I did mission work in El Salvador, and so we're very like Guanaca.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of being Latinx, right? It's just like, oh yeah, primo, come over here. It doesn't matter where you're from.
Well, and I've traveled throughout Latin America with the U.S. State Department. So I've been to like Dominican Republic, Guatemala, Argentina, Venezuela, like some really cool spots, and just like seeing the diversity within Latin America. And at the same time, there's something so like the resilience of Latinos, the family atmosphere, like that is all so Latinx. Like it's just like, hey, we're all one big family, even though like our accents are completely different and we use funky words.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually want to talk about something.
Yes.
So that everybody knows about this. But you're from Texas, and actually as of 2015, April 2nd is officially Gina Chavez Day. That's also a really big thing, How did that feel?
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. I think that's a big piece of living in Austin. We call ourselves the live music capital of the world. And obviously there's a lot of other like music cities, LA included. But I do think that's one way of us kind of uplifting our independent artists. And so, so April 2nd, I have a day. There you go.
Have you actually celebrated it?
Yeah, it's so funny. Some artists actually do. I was like, I probably should do like a celebration every year or something like that. But fortunately, I've had a lot of really good things going on. So I just let people find that one out and feel special when they find it.
Well, now everyone at LATV knows.
There you go.
April 2nd. Perfect. Well, let's talk about what this album meant to you and what stage in your life this nomination comes in. What was happening internally, and to the public, we know you're nominated, but at what stage does that nomination come into your life?
For sure, yeah. So like I said, I've been playing music for a long time, and I've always, for a long time, I've actually been playing bilingual music, and so I sing in English, I sing in Spanish, I sing in Spanglish, and I love that audiences like to come along for the journey. I do have a largely, non-Spanish speaking audience, but people love that about my music, and I love exploring my culture through music and getting to share that on stage. But for me, so like I was saying, this album means so much to me. So Que Manda, of course, for those who don't speak Spanish, it means like the woman in charge, the one who calls the shots, she boss babe. And I didn't set out to write a record that was about, female empowerment. I don't love that term, but it really is a record kind of about me coming into my own power as a woman and understanding what that means. I think I've been chewing on something for a long time before I realized that what I was writing was the message of La Que Manda. And it's in large part, I think women everywhere. And I have traveled the world. I've been to Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and Uzbekistan and like some off the beaten path kind of places. And something that is universal is that girls and women everywhere, from the time that we're little, we're told that we're meant to be small and quiet and not take up too much space and not make too much noise and be pleasing to everyone and look nice. And those kinds of messages, when you look at a little boy, they're the complete opposite. When a little boy speaks up, he's called a leader. And it matters. It matters that our society is telling us lies, essentially. It's saying like, hey, in order to be the best girl or best woman you can be, you need to be these things. You need to fit in this tiny little box over here, and then you'll be accepted. And I'm kind of like reckoning with that. I'm basically like, wow, like we've been sold a bunch of lies, and I believed them, and I'm still living with like what it means to try to unravel that. And then this record is kind of like a big, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And so it's kind of like when you put on, workout music to pump yourself up. When you don't feel like working out, you're like, all right, I'm going to put on my jams and then I'm going to get pumped. Like that's kind of what this record is for me, is especially that title track, man. La Que Manda is like, you cannot not like get into your power with that song. You're just like, okay, let's go.
I love that. And speaking on the topic of like empowerment, maybe it's like, yes, the empowerment, but also just reclaiming that empowerment in the way that you see fit for your own identity,
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other piece that's really cool for me is that like this record is a culmination of kind of all of the parts of myself. So I'm queer, I'm Catholic, I'm Latinx, I'm a woman, I'm an activist, and all of those things are wrapped up in this record. And that's what I love. I love it for me, but I love that like other people are connecting with it in the same way that I am,
Of course. And that's actually a question that I had, because oftentimes being queer, but also having the religious aspect to it, being also Catholic, has it ever been hard to just, merge those different identities that sometimes in social life are kind of stretched apart?
Oh, for sure. There's definitely a journey there, and I could talk forever on that. But I do think the big piece is that, I love my Catholic faith, and I have just as much right to the Eucharist and as a right to be part of that church community as the Pope does, and just because I don't fit in the box that some people think I should fit in doesn't mean that I don't have a right to, be part of my church community. Now, I think the hard part is that most church communities don't accept us for who we are. And what kind of church is that if you can't go be yourself in that space? And so that's what's really hard, is that most people don't have a community that accepts them. And to me, I'm like, well then, hey, Christians, like we missed the boat. We missed the message, so I think for me, I feel very called right now to try and be a change from the inside. It's hard to change a system from outside the system. And so, fortunately, my wife and I have a great church community here in Austin. And I don't think a lot of people have that. And it's time to change that, because in reality, our youth are dying. Our youth are dying because they're not only not accepted, they're shamed for being who they are from the pulpit, and it's not okay.
And I think that I wanted to ask that question because I love it that the audience gets to hear it from you, someone who's had their own journey and can sort of speak on that now.
Yeah.
But so yes, this culmination of identities, intersectionalities, La Que Manda. You are also performing for the Grammys.
I am. Very exciting. So we got invited. I'm still just kind of on cloud nine. This is so cool. But I got invited to play that song. So the title track to my record. And this is actually the first time I will perform that song live ever.
Wow.
Is going to be on the Latin Grammys.
Do you have like a special ritual that you do maybe? Like how do you get into that headspace of performing? Is there something specific that you do?
You know, that's a good question. Honestly, I love performing. So performing for me is the easy part. The hard part is writing songs. Like me being in this space, you know, my studio, like all by myself, and having to believe in my own message and try to pull something outside of myself, you know, from inside myself. That's really hard. So honestly, that's the stage that I have stage fright. Is this stage right here. I think when I get on stage and get to be able to be in front of an audience, that lights me up. So I don't know that I have to like pump myself up. I do enjoy. I'm like a pura lesbian. Like I barely put on makeup, right? I put on like eyeliner and call it like really great makeup. But I do think that like putting on makeup before a show is a nice way to kind of like calm myself. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times when I'm putting on makeup, I'll do like vocal exercises, and that's kind of like my little mini zone before I get on stage. So.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Gina Chavez, who will be performing for the Latin Grammys. Okay, so make sure to stay tuned on Facebook and follow Gina Chavez for more information. And we want to thank you for being with us today here on LATV.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much. Well, I can't wait to actually be out in LA again.
I know.
So I hope everybody stays safe, especially during the holidays. Y'all please wear masks, and we will hopefully see you soon.